We opened up in May of 1978, and it was beautiful. It was a great summer, and we were making ice cream. We were scooping ice cream. On a good day, we could make about 10 batches of ice cream, 50 gallons of ice cream. It was probably about 1,000 scoops. And that was our entire capacity. So the summer was great. Then the winter came. It was minus 20 degrees outside. Sure enough, people stopped buying ice cream cones. So Ben had this old station wagon that we put a really nice tape deck into. And then we built an insulated styrofoam box that fit right in the back of the station wagon compartment. And in the morning, we would fill up this compartment with tubs of ice cream, and then Ben would drive around Vermont as fast as he could trying to sell the ice cream before it melted. So that was how we got through that winter. Eventually we started selling more ice cream that would fit in the back of Ben's car. We bought this old ice cream delivery truck with about 250,000 miles on it. Ben became our truck driver. We put a really nice tape deck into the truck. And so Ben was driving around Vermont, and the truck was just breaking down all over the place, and it was costing us more money to repair the truck than we were making selling ice cream. So Ben fortunately had another idea. He thought that if we could start packaging our ice cream into pint containers, that way he could sell it to these little mom and pop grocery stores in Vermont that he was passing as he was going from one restaurant to another. Ben and I looked at each other one day and we said, boy, what the heck is going on here? We're not ice cream men anymore, we're becoming businessmen. We're not spending our time making ice cream and scooping it over the counter to our customers. We're spending our time hiring people and firing people, writing memos and correspondence, talking with lawyers and accountants, and it wasn't exactly our idea of a good time. Plus, we had grown up in the 60s. You guys have all read about the 60s, right? And to us, business had all these negative connotations, and we felt like our business was just becoming another cog in the economic machine, and we didn't want any part of that. And so we decided to get out. And just then, Ben ran into this friend of his, Maurice Purpura, who was this old eccentric restaurateur from down in southern Vermont. And Ben was telling Maurice that we were going to get out of the business. And Maurice said, Ben, how can you do that? The business is your baby. It's just starting to take off. And Ben said, well, Maurice, you know what business does. It takes advantage of its employees. It spoils the environment. It exploits the community. And Maurice said, well, Ben, if there's something you don't like about the way business is done, why don't you just change it? And as Ben says, that had never really occurred to him before. So at that point, we decided to stay with the business and see if we could make it something that was supportive of the community, supportive of employees and the environment. What we decided to do was to use this need for cash as an opportunity to make the community owners of the business, so that as the business prospered, the community as owners would automatically prosper and not be dependent upon the business's kindness or generosity. And the way we found to do this was to hold what became the first ever in-state Vermont public stock offering, selling stock in the company to Vermonters, people who had been supporting the business since it started. As I mentioned, this had never been done before. Ben unearthed this obscure law in Vermont and went to talk to the head of banking in the state of Vermont, and they said, yeah, you can go ahead and do this. We had a very low minimum purchase of $126, so that people of essentially any economic situation could participate. Normally, public offerings, initial offerings, are reserved for so-called sophisticated investors who have several $1,000s, but that's not who we were looking for. We wanted our neighbors. And so we advertised it in the first section of the newspaper, right next to the clothing ads and the supermarket ads, said, "Get a scoop of the action." And at the end of the offering, which we sold out, we raised $750,000. 1 out of every 100 families in Vermont had become owners in Ben & Jerry's. What we started to realize at Ben & Jerry's is that there's a spiritual aspect to business, just as there is to the lives of individuals. As you give, you receive. As you help others, you are helped in return. And just because the idea that the good that you do comes back to you is written in the Bible and not in some business textbook, doesn't mean that it's any less valid. We're all interconnected. And as we help others, we can't help but being helped in return. You know, most new flavors don't make it. They never make it out of the lab. They never see the light of day. You know, many are called, few are chosen. At Ben & Jerry's, we have many are cold, few are frozen. So it's really the field in which we labor. And so the way we began thinking about it was to try to look at all the normal daily business processes and activities that we were involved in, and seeing if there was a way to integrate social or environmental concerns into those day-to-day activities, whether it be marketing or sourcing ingredients, financial issues. So we said, all right, we're an ice cream company. One thing we need to do is to sell ice cream. Ben & Jerry's has about 300 franchised ice cream shops, and 14 of those are what we call partner shops. They're shops that are owned and operated by nonprofit social service agencies, so that any money that those shops make goes back to fund the nonprofit. And the clients who those agencies work with, who are typically at-risk youth, get job training and job experience. For Ben & Jerry's, the company makes the same amount of money selling ice cream to those shops as to a conventionally owned shop. And just by having them in business, we're able to support the work that they do. What's ironic is that a few years ago, Ben & Jerry's started to get criticized in the media that we were cynically trying to manipulate our customers into buying more ice cream by doing good deeds. And our response to that is that our actions are based on deeply held values. And in addition, we understand that true marketing is an integrated and holistic attempt to meet another set of our customers' needs. Our customers' needs to have business be addressing the increasing social problems in our country. What we found is that this way of operating, this way of doing business, has tangible business benefits. You know, in business speak, it provides Ben & Jerry's with added value. It's a unique selling proposition. It helps with recruiting employees. It helps with retaining employees. And most of all, it helps with customers. What we've been learning at Ben & Jerry's is that there is a spiritual aspect to business, just as there is to the lives of individuals. For business and people, it's all the same.